2.4 talks about congruent supplements and complements. It then introduces 4 theorems that we'll be using throughout our proofs in the book. Let's say that we have 2 angles. We then have a third angle that when we place it next to each of the angles, makes the supplement. So here you can see that the supplement for angle 1, but you can also see it's a supplement for angle 2. Let's put some numbers behind this. If we said that the supplement of the angle was 30 degrees, since it was also a supplement over here, and it was the same angle, that would be 30 degrees, that would have to make the original angle 150 degrees, and the original angle 2 150 degrees. Well, since they are both 150 degrees, they are both congruent. So, if angles are supplementary to the same angle, then they are congruent, and that introduces the first theorem. The same can be said with complements. If I have 2 angles, angle 1 and angle 2, and we draw its complement, but we know that same angle is a complement to the second angle, they have to be congruent. Again, if we use numbers behind it, let's say that the angle 60 is complementary to both of those angles. That would make both of those angles 30 degrees. Therefore, they would have to be congruent. Bringing us to the second theorem, if 2 angles are complementary to the same angle, then they are congruent. Now let's take a look at these 4 angles. If we know that this angle, call this angle 1, is congruent to angle 2, and we know that this angle, let's say angle 3, is supplementary to angle 1, and we know that angle 4 is supplementary to angle 2, we can then conclude that the measurement of angle 3 is equal to the measurement of angle 4, or that angle 3 is just congruent to angle 4. Bringing us to the next theorem in this section. If angles are supplementary to congruent angles, then they are congruent. The same can be said with complementary angles. If angles are complementary to congruent angles, then they are congruent. Let's look at an example from page 79, number 7. We're given the following. FKJ is a right angle, and angle HJK is a right angle. We also know that GKJ and angle GJK are congruent. What we want to conclude is that angle FKG is congruent to HJG. We'll start with our givens, like most problems. Angle FKJ is a right angle. That is given. And angle HJK is a right angle, and again, the reason being given. If we look back at the diagram and we know that FKJ is a right angle, we know that FK GKG and JKG are going to be complementary to each other. The same can be said about these two angles. So we write that in our statement. Angle GKF is complementary to angle GKJ, and angle GJH is complementary to angle GJK. The reason is going to be just the definition of complementary. The reasoning, if the sum of two angles is 90 degrees, then they are complementary. Please note again how I formatted it. I used the if, then statement to establish it. We know that the 90 degrees, the right angle, is previously established in 1 and 2, and we are using the then part in our statement number 3. We can simply say same as number 3 for our reasoning in number 4. We are also given that angle GKJ is congruent to angle GJK, and that reason is also given. Now, since we have established complementary angles and congruency, we can go and we can come to the conclusion that angle FKG is congruent to angle HJG. The reasoning is one of the theorems that we just learned. If angles are complementary to congruent angles, then they are congruent.